Hello, my spooky friends, and welcome back to Where Midnight Looms. My name is Lisa, and today we are going to be making a Halloween themed traveler's notebook style journal. So, a traveler's notebook by tradition is a notebook where you have a cover and then you have a signature or your insert that comes out. And once you've used up the insert, then you would just put in a new fresh one and start all over, and the whole time keeping the same cover. So I thought this would be a fun little project to do for Halloween. And I came up with this gorgeous cover, I have to say. If I do say so myself, I absolutely love it. And I think this is a fun idea and a little bit of a different spin on creating a Halloween journal. So, of course, you could use this cover over and over again if you wanted to. Take out the insert and just, make a different one, make different colors, go through several inserts in the season. And it just gets held in there with the elastic on the side. And I love how the paper here hangs out just a little bit there. An old book that I got at a thrift store to create this traveler's notebook, or this style notebook / journal. And I had this big idea that I was going to paint the book, but it didn't turn out the way that I anticipated. So I went to the thrift store and I bought these 3 books. This is the book that I used to make the prototype, which I showed you at the beginning of the video. This is the book that we're going to use today, and we're going to be making something very similar to what I've just shown you. My concern with these books when I was looking for a certain size was the spine. I didn't want the spine to be more than about 3/4 of an inch wide. I wasn't so concerned about the height, but I did want to have a thinner spine. Now, this book I used to make this journal, Halloween Traveler's Notebook, on my other channel, Island Alice, and I will leave the link for that down below. So, of course, right at the very beginning, I want to sand down the covers. And usually if you sand something down, that really does help the paint stick to it and it doesn't chip. So I sanded the fronts and the back and the spine, and the paint still chipped off. So that's sort of the spoiler alert to the whole thing. And here I'm just removing all of the pages from the inside, of course, from the book, because we don't want to use any of that there. So I get out my black acrylic paint. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be fantastic. And after I painted it, I realized that it was going to chip. And you can see here where the little marks are on the cover. So I decided, okay, well, plan B, I got out the black. This is like black copy paper. I got this on Amazon. It's just regular everyday black paper. I'm also going to be using this black bookbinding tape. I've got my Beacon 3-in-1 glue, which I absolutely love. And I've got these amazing transfers, which I have never purchased before or used before. That's how I got these great corners on the journal. So I'm really excited to use these again and show you just how easy they are. And I've used my crocodile here to put the grommets in the spine. And I'm using 3/16, I believe. Is that right? 3/16? Yes. I'll check and I'll leave it in the description box for you. All of this stuff came from Amazon. So one of the first things I need to do is to use the bookbinding tape on both the front and the back. And you'll notice here that the spine already has a certain thickness. I would say that's almost 1/8 of an inch thick. And I had to be a little bit careful because I had a difficulty getting the grommets through there. And I was going to put cardboard down the spine to reinforce it, but I realized that's going to be way too much of a thickness. So the regular book spine there with the layer of tape, essentially 2 layers of tape, was perfect. So here I'm just going to try and get this tape centered. which I can never do. I eyeball it and I think, yeah, that looks great. And then later I'm like, no, that's not straight at all. But anyways, you really want to get in there with the grooves. Sometimes you can use a bone folder, and this just helps the tape from lifting up, and of course it makes it so that your book is going to open and close with ease and not get stuck. And then I just wrap the ends around here. You could do this with paper as well, but I really do like to use this book tape. It's a tiny bit stretchy and it has some really nice give to it. It's not very expensive. I think I paid about $15 or $18 for the roll, and the roll has lasted me forever. So yeah, so really get in there with your fingers and really get into those grooves and get it in nice and tight. So then I'm going to put this second piece in here. And same thing, you want to get in there and get it into the grooves with your fingers. Now, I don't want to add to the bulk at the top with the extra layer of the tape. So that's why I decided to trim this down a little bit so that the grommets are only going to go through the 2 layers of tape and the book binding itself. And I'm going to do them just about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch from the edges of the book. Okay, so now I'm going to get ready. We're going to have to cover up this paint, sadly. So, oh, and I flip my board here to the gray side so you can see it a little bit better. So we're going to get ready to glue this paper on. Excuse me. And I've decided that I'm going to put the paper over the tape there because I didn't I didn't get it on there even Steven. So here I'm just going to fold the paper over, and the book itself, the cover is again a little bit thick, which is perfect. It's what you want. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. So what I'm doing here is I'm just wrapping the paper around and in preparation of gluing, and just making sure that the paper is what is the word I'm looking for? It's going to go around there. See, it's about an 1/8 of an inch thick. And I just want to make sure that if I've given it lots of ease so that it's not going to be tight when I fold it to glue it. And then I'm just going to get rid of some excess paper here because I don't need all of that to be glued underneath the back of the book. Okay, so here I'm just going to get ready, and we're going to get out the beacon 3-in-1, and we're just going to go around the edge. Now, I tend to be a little bit heavy-handed with the glue, so I really have to watch myself here. This glue is amazing, and I have to say it's a real life changer for me. I love, love, love using this glue, and it does give you a little bit of wiggle room as far as drying time. You can go in and sort of smush it around, and it gives you some time before it starts to settle. But it is a bit expensive, so I have to be kind of careful not to go too ham-fisted with it. So I'm just going to ease it there so that it doesn't come gushing out the sides, and then I'm just rubbing it down and smushing it so that when it dries, I don't want to see the marks come through the paper, right? So we're just going to give it a little bit of a push there and wrap that around so that everything is just going to fold nicely and crisply. Crispy, you know what I mean, around the edges. Now, in order to get some really nice corners, I am pinching and folding that paper on an angle there, and then pinching down the excess so that when I fold the paper along the side, it's gonna give you a really nice, crisp, sharp corner. And you'll see here just in a second as I push this down. You can see how nice that is there. It's tight. There's nothing sort of coming out the edge. The corners are nice and straight. We've got a really nice 45-degree angle there. So now again, we're going to glue the ends down. And again, Nice and easy, not too much. I don't know what it is with me and the glue, but I don't know, maybe I had some glue issues when I was a kid, and because I always think more is more with glue, right? But not always, especially with this kind of glue. I have to trust this glue more than I do. The 3-in-1 will never let you down. It'll hold forever, but you don't need an absolute ton of it. And I have to remind myself that on a regular basis. Okay, so now we've got that down, and we're going to do this side as well. I'm just going to put a little bit underneath the flap there and right along so the glue gets it right by the fold line there. And a little bit extra for good measure. Yep, see, there's me trying to add a little bit of extra. And then gently fold it over. Again, you don't want to do it too heavy-handed so that your glue doesn't ooze out all over the place and make a big mess. Yeah, like that edge looks great. Now, I will say, I did try this with cardstock at the very beginning, and I found that the cardstock was too thick, and I couldn't get the corners that I really liked. So that's why I ended up going with paper. I'm just using my little gum eraser there to get rid of some of the excess glue. But yeah, the cardstock, here I am doing the back, and we're basically doing the same thing, but I just sped it up a little bit, just in case you wanted to see me do it again. The cardstock was my original plan because I have some great cardstock from scrapbook.com, but I just couldn't get it to fold and crease nicely along the edges of the book. It was too bulky. It just didn't want to cooperate. And so I have to say I was a little bit surprised when I ended up deciding to use paper. And I had the black paper left over from other projects. So I thought, well, let's just give this a go, because I knew that the gold transfers that I wanted to use on the corner were just going to pop like crazy and not get lost in a pattern with polka dots or ghosts or goblins or skulls or something else for Halloween, right? So that's why I decided to go with the black paper, because I really did want that the gold corners, the transfers that we're going to use to just pop right off. And it has a beautiful effect. Okay, so here we're just going to get ready to put our grommets in. And I'm kind of just eyeballing here. And of course, I'm using the white pencil so that when I put it in underneath the crocodile, and you can see here where it's the little hole punch is there. I did struggle a little bit to see and to line it up because the spine is a bit thick, like I've mentioned. And so the first hole I did, it was great, no problemo. I did really struggle with this second hole because I couldn't, even though I made the mark with the white pencil, I still had a little bit of trouble getting it right on the mark. And you will notice when I put the grommet in that I didn't quite get it centered. So we're going to pop these in here, and that looks really good. And we're just going to smush the eyelet down. There we go. Perfecto. I love it. Worked out great. Then we'll do the second one here. And at this point, I still haven't noticed that it's not quite lined up, like it's not quite centered. And then we get the smushing done. And then I was like, ooh. And then I was like, oh no. It's not quite centered. But I was like, it is what it is. Okay, so then I've got these two images, and I'm not sure yet which one I'm going to be using. But here we have the transfers. Now, I've seen lots of people use these online and on YouTube, but I had not used them myself. So I wasn't 100% sure what to expect. And I bought this set because it has all these great corners, and they're very fancy, and there's sort of this gothic feel to them as well, right? So I'm just playing around here to see what would fit maybe in the corner. and what would work. Was there another set of corners that would work as well as the first prototype journal that we've already done? And I'm just like, that one's nice, but I don't think it's going to fit. So then I end up using the same two that we used on the original journal that I made for the prototype for this video. So these really went on much easier than I ever anticipated. I don't know really what I thought, but I thought they would be a little bit more difficult. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, you just, they just transfer right on. So we take the backing off. And like I said, I got these 3 sheets. I think it was about $18 Canadian, which I thought was a pretty good deal considering how much was there. So I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to line it up. And it comes with a little spatula to rub, but it was kind of flimsy. So I decided to get out my ruler. And honestly, I'm probably doing a little bit too much rubbing. And I rub and rub and rub, and then you can kind of see when it actually transfers from the plastic on to your page. And then I was just like, oh, I love this. I'm going to be doing a lot of this. This is great. So then I just need to line up the second one here. It's not as sticky as I thought. I thought the transfer paper would be much, much stickier. I don't know why. And then again, just a quick over there and up there and around there. And the next thing you know, it's transferred right on. I mean, I don't know how much, I don't know how much friction these could take. Like if you put this book in a bag and you carried it with you and it got rubbed by all kinds of things, I don't know how sturdy these are, but I just love them. I think they look amazing. So I do like Witchy Poo, but then I put this one on and I'm like, there's something about the greens and the golds and the orange of the full moon that really just goes so nicely with the corners there. So we just eyeball it, get it nice and centered there. Easy, easy. And again, gently press down. I have to remind myself to gently press down because I don't want all the glue to come oozing out everywhere. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to look really, really nice. Yeah, I love it. It's perfect for Halloween. Okay, so now let's do the inside. I had printed off these, I had these pages or this page here of cardstock. But first we're going to put the elastic in. And I just got this round elastic again from Amazon. Everything comes from Amazon. And I tie the knot in the middle and I tie it fairly tightly. And if you didn't have elastic, you could use yarn for this, or you could use ribbon, or even a strip of ripped fabric. Anything would work. I like the look and the feel of the elastic, and I have a ton of it. So that's why I decided to use it. For some reason, I thought, okay, I'm going to put that knot up at the top. I'm not sure what possessed me to do that. But anyways, onwards we go. So now I'm just going to glue in this cardstock to finish the inside of the covers. Yeah, I'm thrilled to bits. Okay, so now this signature or this insert is a combination of coffee dyed paper and paper that I printed, and I believe there's about 15 pages. And you can tell that it's quite thick. Now, I put this together very, very quickly of this goldy orange copy paper. This is 10 sheets that I stitched together. And I thought it would be fun to show you the contrast and the difference. Like, I really like the pop of the yellow, and I would get out my rubber stamps and do a ton of rubber stamping on that signature. And this is nice too. Obviously, it's not as colorful, but having the coffee dyed paper in there adds quite a bit of bulk. So it would be up to you to decide what you would like to do. You could put any kind of paper in there, and it would be a great way to use scraps up as well. So, my spooky friends, if you would like to see me do this one, I will leave the link in the description box down below at my main channel. And thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a little thumbs up. And until the next video, stay spooky, everybody. Bye!